So my friend dropped off these beams, a few more of these beams. He dropped off 5. I'm only keeping 2 around to make the cross member out of. In case I fail at one, I'll have another to back up with. Anyhow, these also have spikes in them, and I'm in the process of getting those spikes out. Trusty Est-wing hammer. I love Est-wings because they've got the solid metal from the head of the hammer down the shaft of it. So this spike is really set in here, and all I'm trying to do is work it back and forth and side to side and whatnot to try and loosen up the hole that it's in, so that the hole will be bigger than the spike itself and I can slip it out of there. There's another one in that end, and plus more in that other beam. So got all this debris that keeps falling into the hole. Making it to where it doesn't really loosen, it just fills back in. Let's see. My arm hurts now. I'm half tempted to just put a dull chain on my chainsaw and cut it in between where the spikes were, because there's going to be sand in this one, even though there's no head here. But I don't know if inside the wood, if maybe this spike is veered off into the center, and maybe that's setting it in. But I am tempted to just cut into it and see. But even if it's a dull chain, I don't want to torture test my saw. I like my chainsaws. one's kind of bent. Now I gotta flip it around. Just making sure my video's still going. It's a hot day and my camera likes to shut off when it gets too hot because it hates me and hates what I try to do. That is film myself working. That hurt my back. Nothing, well, not much of what's out here matters, which I'm kind of tempted to just cut it right here, right close to the head of this spike, and see if that'll make it come out. But I'm bad at math. So I've been trying to figure out exactly how much of this I'm going to need for the cross member, and I still can't figure it out. So I'm thinking that this one will be my dummy test, and that one will be like the final product one. Mostly because this one's a little bit more worn than that one is. And although I want the cross to be rugged, hence the old rugged cross, I don't want it to be like poor quality. Like that one's a little bit, that beam in there is a little bit more squared off, has less divots, less splinters. So this shows just how very little this is aged, actually. So this is gray, but on the other side, just barely underneath it, it's got the redwood still. So when I am finishing this, and I gotta rough up, well, scrape off the worn gray outer look of the front and the back of the cross, it's not going to have to be a whole lot of work because I only got to take off that little bit of gray, which is good. Less work is preferable. Less work is especially preferable because I've only got 3 weeks to work on this. Well, less than 3 weeks. I've got 2.5 weeks, and this week's almost over. I say that it's only Tuesday, but it's the afternoon of Tuesday, and so it's practically half over. that's both of them out of this one. This one's a lot more rusted than this other one. Also, I was at my welding friend's house, the guy who's going to help me with making the nails, just a couple hours ago, and I had a spike that came out of one of the other ones. And anyhow, I was acknowledging how the lip, well, like the bill of these older ones is a lot thinner than a newer one. A newer one would have a lump that comes off of the bottom of the head. But anyhow, that's that for this one. We're at 13 minutes. So granted, this isn't a lot of work. 13 minutes of work with that one. And I was working before I started the camera, but it still wasn't a whole lot of time. Anyhow, what I'm getting at is that even though it's just a little bit of time right now, and the next video will be like 10 minutes and the next will be 6 or so, all that time's going to add up, and all that time put together will be the finished product time. Oh wow, I didn't look, and I guess this one doesn't even have any more in it. Oh yeah, that's right. The one that I took to my friends came out of this beam, but anyhow, so I guess that's it for this video, unless there's a nail. Oh, there is a nail right here. There's nothing on this side. I gotta take that. What on earth? I think that's concrete. Maybe it's like petrified mud. Kind of looks like pumice. It was inside of one of the holes where the nail had come through. But anyhow, there's just a little nail on this that I gotta take out. Gotta be gentle too. This one is the better beam. I don't want to mar it up too much. Son of a mama humma. Dang it. Ah, there we go. So just a little nail. Oh, we've got a year nail on this too. You know what? I think I'm gonna use one of these old spikes as like a chisel to get underneath. For the record, this beam was set in the ground in 1927. And yes, I do believe that this was concrete because this nail head has like concrete on it. And there's a knot right here. I don't even know if that's in the shot. Let me see. Nope. There we go. So that's the knot, or Wait, no, that's not the knot. That's the knot. And that's the nail. So, anyhow. And this is the underside of the beam. And this is where the spikes came all the way through. Or at least they pushed the wood out all the way through, so. Doesn't help that I'm sweating profusely. Gonna make it hard to see. That worked way better than me trying to get that other one out. Granted, it's not all the way out. There it is. So, as you can see, has a 27. That means 1927. This one wasn't as deep as the other one. I think that other one's on my floorboard. Sure enough. And you can see how hard I worked on that other one, because I mushroomed it out. This one was set in the ground in 1928. So, don't know if you can see it. There we go. So you can see the 28 there. And this one was a year earlier. So yeah. And yeah, these nails were just galvanized. And like you can still see that this one still got galvanizing on it, which is surprising for its age, you know. There's galvanized pipes that were put in the ground in the 80s that have rusted through already, so the fact that this, almost 100 years old, is lasted this long is amazing. Anyhow, that is that for this. I'm gonna draw out the measurements and whatnot and finalize that, and then I'm going to draw it up on these beams, on the worst one, which is the one laying down. Anyhow, I'll draw it out on that first, cut it out there, put it up on the beam that's going to go in the post hole, and see how well it looks, measurements on either side of it. I'm thinking 2 feet on either side of the cross member and 2 feet up from the cross member, plus the 8 inches of the beam itself. And so, yeah. And I got to thinking about this sash idea. I'm still going to try it, but I don't know if it'll work because it's got all these cracks in it, and I'm afraid that I'll get it done and then it'll just fall apart. So I'm still going to do it, but I'm going to have a plan B, and my plan B is to just piece it together, which is going to be harder, but I might have to do it, so. But anyhow, that's it for now. I just cut myself. Already bleeding. Anyhow, that's it for now. Thanks for looking. This is part of the Propitiation Sculpture. God bless.